Hey everyone, welcome back. I hope you're all doing really well, and I hope you're in the mood for a good fantasy, because that's what I've got for you today. As you can see, I love me some James Rollins, and he got a sequel earlier this month, so this one took me quite a while to read, as fantasy tends to do, so I didn't get as far in my TBR as I had planned this month, but worth it, because though I did mess up, I should have reread The Starless Crown before this arrived, but oh well, I did it. Still an awesome book, but if you can, learn from my mistakes, because the first book came out last January, this came out the 7th of this month, so that's quite a long time in between to keep all the characters and all the various intrigue straight, especially because I read like 100 books in between. I've already finished my yearly goal for books for this year, though to be fair, I only set it at 30. So yeah, there's been a lot in between, but this one was it's so much fun. The Starless Crown is basically, it's the sequel to, or The Cradle Vice is the sequel to The Starless Crown, which is part of the Moonfall trilogy. And The Starless Crown basically was, alright, the world has stopped turning. We have the crown on one side, right, pretty much like right down the center, and that's where the people that can afford it live, because that's the only good place left on the planet. And then there's the Cradle of Ice on the side of the planet that doesn't ever face the sun, and then we've got the desert on the other side, because it's always being burned to a crisp by the sun. I know how that one feels. There's a reason I like to look outside and enjoy all the pretty animals and flowers and their cute antics, and watch the butterflies hop around the garden and the bunnies hiding in the garden that always seem to get an unwanted bath, but that's what happens when you're hiding in my flowers and don't come out and let me pet you. I don't know you're there. But other than that, I avoid the outside. But we've got, in this one, there's several different characters, and we've got a couple different things going on. And this basically, it's a lot of different parts, if you will, and each part is a different character's, storyline until the very end, and then it switches chapter to chapter. But one section is Nyx, who is, she's kind of like the one that kicked all of this off, because she was raised by Meyer Bats and has this special talent of, she can basically kind of like sing to creatures and get them to like understand her and do what she wants. And so she's the one that kind of got this prophecy of the moon is going to fall into the world and kill us all unless, we do something about it. And they found this like bronze woman that is part of this prophecy and is supposed to help them get the world turning again, so that, the moon doesn't crash into us and kill us all. But she doesn't remember everything that she's supposed to, so they're supposed to find others like her, and one is hidden somewhere in, the icy half of the world. So that's where she's going. And then the other people are trying to find, again, another, like, bronze figure that's somewhere on the other side of the world, and in the process, like, the other one, we have Nyx, who's basically, like, she's kind of very commoner. She used to be basically blind, and, being, like, re-poisoned actually fixed her eyesight, and so now she's not anymore, and she's, in a crew of, like, assassin pirates and thieves, and this, bronze woman. And the other half is more assassins, and, the Spare. Yes, he was the prince that was born a twin, and they used to be friends, but not anymore. Now it's, the first twin has become extremely ambitious and is out to kill the guy that could potentially claim the throne from him. So It's like, they ain't friends, even though, you know, the other one wants to go back to how they used to be. And so he is in pretty much like a warring nation is where he escaped to after they had a fight in the last book, and has been kind of like forced into, I'm gonna marry the, you know, illuminated rose, or, you know, the only daughter of the emperor of this other nation on the edge of the crown. So basically to give him an excuse to search around and find this other bronze woman. Well, man, whatever. Bronze creature. We don't know what it's going to be. Like, the first one they found looks like a chick. There's some revelations all throughout. There's all these really cool creatures. A lot of political intrigue and backstabbing in various worlds. And so we've got both storylines going at the same time. And neither one of them, you know, their plans are not going as planned. There's a reason that, skinny though this may look, this is 600 pages. This was a big friggin' book. Though some of it is cool illustrations of, you know, the bats like you see there in the ice world, because they have like Bashalia, who is Nyx's bat, that's like her brother that she grew up with. And then there's like demonic ginormous versions of these bats that they run into in the icy half of the world, over the ice shield, as it's called, and they're Rashakis. And basically, they were cool, like, icy versions of her Meyer bat, but they've been corrupted by something evil that, you know, has to be dealt with. So, you know, we get to meet these other bats and creatures, because they go into the ice shield thinking, you know, there's nothing there, because, dude, everybody would be frozen to death like millennia ago. No, there's a nice, like, steam vent that they fall into and find a town and a nice salty ocean and full of creatures. And yeah, there's it's so much fun. I love this story. But you definitely, if you can, read the first one, and you will just love it. It's this whole new world of all kinds of, you know, we've got a little bit of magic, but there's all these different systems of, you know, their various beliefs. There's all kinds of forming new alliances, almost romance that we totally see coming, even though they're fighting it. I love all the new creatures, and there was some twists that I actually didn't see coming of, it's like, yeah, they're enemies, or not, yeah, no, what? And it's just, you can't have a bunch of, you know, various kingdoms and empires that have more than one kid and not have some, you know, shadiness going on. But I love all of it. It's not as action-packed as his, you know, Sigma Force, but I do love, the creatures are just so much freaking fun. And seeing some of the characters actually grow up and go, oh, we need to maybe get our act together. And because they were basically, it's mostly teenagers and criminals that aren't necessarily as bad as you expect. So figure out who is actually bad and who's just being set up and who's really good. It's all exciting. If you love high fantasy and you love James Rollins, who, well, I don't even need to know anything about his books. I just need to know that he wrote them, and I will buy them. Is this my favorite book ever that he's written? No, it's still fantasy. That's just not my favorite genre. But if you want to dip your toe into it, try him out, and I will see you soon. Bye! Happy reading!